Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're basically going to break down decades of entrepreneurial wisdom into a simple blueprint for success. And it all starts with that big, crazy dream. You know the one I'm talking about. So check this out. This quote was in a high school yearbook for a young Davy Fogarty, way before he built his massive wearable blanket empire, the Udi. I mean, who hasn't had that dream, right? To build something huge. But, okay, Fogarty's story shows us where you can end up, but what's the actual roadmap to get there? How do you turn that kind of ambition into reality? So you might be thinking it's all about having some groundbreaking idea, right? Or a massive investment, a huge pile of cash. But what if I told you that the real experts, the people who've built and sold company after company, say that's all wrong? Yeah, the complete opposite. Let's dive into what they actually say. All right, first up, let's start with a major reality check. This comes from serial entrepreneur Simon Squibb, and he basically argues that everything we're taught about where to start is just flat out wrong. He says it has nothing to do with finding some magical gap in the market. I mean, seriously, forget about trying to find some undiscovered niche. Get this. Squibb's most successful early company had 500 competitors all doing the exact same thing. So how did he win? He was just more obsessed with the work than anyone else. And think about it, look at Davy Fogarty. He didn't invent the blanket, right? But his passion for creating the ultimate comfort led to the Udi. And that obsession, that's what blows the competition out of the water. So the method is actually pretty simple. You write down what you absolutely love doing. Then you get obsessed, like really obsessed, with being the best at it. Then you write down what you hate doing and you outsource all of it. The main takeaway here is to pretty much forget what you learned in school. Don't waste your energy trying to get better at your weaknesses. Instead, you double down on your strengths, the stuff you're passionate about, and you find other people to handle the rest. That obsession is what's going to fuel you. Okay, so you've got your passion, you know what you're obsessed with. What's next? Well, it's definitely not locking yourself into some rigid 20-page business plan that's going to be useless the second you print it. Yeah, Simon Squibb is pretty direct about this. He says those rigid business plans, they actually kill companies. Why? Because they stop you from adapting. The market's always changing, new opportunities are popping up all the time, and a fixed plan just makes you blind to all of it. So instead, he suggests using a tool that's way more dynamic. And that tool is a mind map. Think of it as your blueprint, but it's, liquid. It's flexible. It all starts with your core passion right there in the middle, and then it branches out into every single possibility. It works just like your brain does, connecting ideas all over the place. So you start with your main passion right in the center. From there, you just start branching out. Maybe one branch is launching a podcast, another could be opening a physical store, and a third might be developing an app. See how it's all connected? The best part is you can add new branches or totally change direction whenever you want, and you don't have to rewrite some massive formal document. All right, so you've got this passion-fueled mission, you've got a flexible blueprint, but how do you actually win? Well, it really comes down to a very specific mindset and a few tactics that let you, and believe it or not, this is a real thing, hack your own luck. This right here, this is the secret weapon of pretty much every huge modern company. Seriously, think about it. Facebook waited almost a decade to really start monetizing its massive user base. What were they doing? They were building insane value for their users first. And the payoff for having that patience, well, it was astronomical. And this just shows that luck isn't some random thing that just happens to. No, Squibb is adamant that you can actually manufacture your own luck. And how do you do it? Through pure persistence, by having a crystal clear idea of where you're going, and by having the guts to take smart, calculated risks that everyone else is too scared to even consider. Now, this next part, this might just be the most important piece of the entire formula, and it's the one thing most people try to avoid at all costs. Winning in business isn't about never failing. It's about getting really, really good at it. Okay, so Squibb has this amazing theory about A students versus D students. He says the school system trains A students to be perfect, to walk this tightrope where they're terrified of making a single mistake. But these students, they're already used to a messy path. They've already learned how to fall down, dust themselves off, and just keep going. And that resilience, well, it makes them absolutely fearless. So the question is, how do you get that D student mindset in business? And listen, it has nothing to do with your actual grades. It's all about detaching yourself from the things that society tells you should define you and control you. It really all boils down to this. building unbreakable resilience. You have to be willing to risk it all because you know deep down that even if you fail in a huge, spectacular way, you have the ability to start over from scratch. Losing everything just doesn't matter if you have the confidence that you can always go again. So let's recap the secret formula. We've got start with your passion, use a flexible mind map instead of a business plan, practice delayed gratification, and learn to love losing. But honestly, none of that matters without this one final piece of the puzzle. From the time we're kids, right, we're asked this one question over and over. What are you going to do when you grow up? We're trained to think about jobs and titles and careers, basically to fit ourselves into some kind of predefined box. But here's the thing. According to entrepreneurs like Swib, that is completely the wrong question. It actually limits our potential and distracts us from what really drives innovation and, a sense of purpose. So this is the real starting point. The blueprint is clear, sure, but your purpose, your passion, your entire business, it's all found in the answer to this question. What problem are you going to solve? Answering that's the first and most important step in putting everything we just talked about into action. So what problem are you going to solve?